Cell wall. Cell wall is a non-living rigid structure that forms an outer covering for plasma membrane of fungi and plants. Children, we have learned in lower classes that the plant cell is covered by a cell wall. In the case of plant cell, external to plasma membrane, they have a cell wall. This cell wall is a non-living rigid structure. The functions of cell wall: it gives shape to the cell. As we have learned, the plant cells are having a definite shape, and in the case of animal cells, they lack a definite shape. It is actually because of the presence of cell wall for plants. It protects the cell from mechanical damage and infection. As it is an outer covering, it protects the cell from mechanical damage and infection. It helps in cell-to-cell interaction, and it provides a barrier to undesirable macromolecules. The composition of cell wall varies between species. It depends on the cell type and developmental stage. That means the composition of cell wall is different in different types of cells. In the case of plant cell, in the case of fungi, in all these cases, in the case of higher plants, in the case of algae, the composition of cell wall is different. It also depends on the cell type and developmental stage. In the initially formed or a newly formed plant cell, it has only the primary wall. Later, it develops the secondary wall. So, the composition of the cell wall, it also depends on developmental stage. In the case of higher plants, the cell wall is mainly composed of cellulose, hemicellulose, pectin, and proteins. When a plant cell is young, that means a newly formed plant cell, it has the wall which is called as primary wall. Now this primary wall is capable of growth. Children, that means when a plant cell is formed after cell division, the first formed wall is called as primary wall. Cell slowly grows. The primary wall also grows. As a cell gets matured, the primary wall gradually diminishes. Then, inner to primary wall, a secondary wall is formed. The middle lamella is a layer which cements the cell walls of two adjoining plant cells together. Two neighboring plant cells, they are connected by or cemented together by a structure which is called as middle lamella. The middle lamella is mainly made up of calcium and magnesium pectates. A narrow thread of cytoplasm passes through the cell wall of adjacent plant cell. It is called as plasmodesmata. Children, let's look at the diagram. Here we can see three neighboring plant cells are shown here in the figure. Now here you can see a green color outer part, the outer cover. It is actually the primary cell wall. Inner to primary cell wall is the secondary wall or the secondary cell wall. Inner to secondary cell wall, we can see the plasma membrane. So one more time children, the outermost, it is the primary cell wall. Inner to primary, the later formed one which is called as secondary wall. Inner to secondary wall, that is the plasma membrane. Now in between two neighboring cells, here you can see one orange color part, that is the middle lamella. Middle lamella glue together or cement together the neighboring plant cells. Now there are cytoplasmic connections between the neighboring cells. These cytoplasmic connections between the neighboring cells is called as plasmodesmata. In student, last time just go through fast the structure of plant cell, the cell wall. Here we can see each plant cell is having the primary cell wall or the primary wall. The primary wall is given here in black color. This black color, thick black color part, it is the primary wall. Inner to primary wall, this part, it is the secondary wall. The secondary wall is more thicker. in between two neighboring cells. Here we can see the red color. This part, it shows the middle lamella. Now here we can see the cytoplasmic connections passes between the cells. These cytoplasmic connections between the neighboring cells, it is called as plasmodesmata. The plasmodesmata, from one cell it's connected to next cell. These plasmodesmata, it passes through the primary and secondary cell wall and also through the middle lamella.